In this lecture, we're going to talk about photography equipment. So if you've made it this far, you're probably now seriously considering what kind of camera you want, if you don't already have one. And the idea was to introduce you to photography before you decided to invest in equipment. If you've gotten this far and you decide you want to invest in equipment, this is meant to be a guide. This is why cameras are expensive. There are all these parts that go into being able to take a picture. The glass is expensive. The computer aspects are expensive. The parts are small. They're very, very expensive to make and put together. And so this is why cameras are expensive. However, you have a range, right? You don't have to buy a $3,000 camera. This is the D850 is a professional quality medium format camera. Medium format. Now I want you to see, you can tell what medium, it's called medium format based on film cameras. What it just means is that it's got a bigger sensor. It's got a full frame sensor so that when you look through the lens and you take the shot, what's recorded is exactly everything you see. When it's not a medium format, when it's a camera like this, a regular DSLR that's not medium format, it crops what you see. Okay. Now, obviously a bigger sensor on your camera means that you have more pixels that you can capture. So these cameras take sharper pictures. So if you're looking, if what your goal is as a photographer is to print larger work or print work, you're gonna eventually need a camera that can capture more pixels than you can with the lower end cameras. Now, there's nothing wrong with these cameras at all. I mean, I have one. You've seen mine. Mine's a D50-100. This is a D50-600. I think this is the newer version of my camera. It's a great camera, and that was the body. I think it was 750 with lenses a few years ago, 10 years ago. So I mean, I have taken amazing photos with it. I eventually would like to upgrade to one of these cameras, but at this price, you know, I would have to be a photographer, and I don't mean that I'm not. I mean, I would have to be a photographer making money off of what I shoot. And right now I don't shoot for a living. So if you're interested in being a professional photographer, you don't have to start out here, but you eventually want to get there. You're just going to have better quality shots, especially if you're doing print. Okay, so these came from B&H Photo. They're very reliable. We have a relationship with them at the college. I don't get any kickbacks for promoting them at all. I buy my equipment from them for multiple reasons. I've used Adorama. I bought a camera from Adorama many, many years ago, and it had a light leak. And I didn't know until after the warranty had expired how bad it was, because it started off light and then it got worse over time. And I'm not knocking Adorama, but I just didn't have very good luck with their site. I haven't had good luck with any site except B&H. So I recommend them, as do most photographers, because of how reliable they are. They're based in New York. They are closed on Saturdays because the owners are Jewish and they celebrate the Sabbath. So know that if you're going to buy anything from them, you can put it in your cart on Saturday, but you can't submit orders on Saturday because it's their holy day. So and they have great deals, and they also have refurbished equipment. Okay, so you can, and these are, so these are the high end, and then they start to go down in price. So you see, you know, these are they have fewer features, fewer bells and whistles, but in the beginning you don't necessarily need that. But they're much more reasonably priced. This is 1/10 of the cost. And for a starter camera, this isn't a bad deal. And then you can get refurbished cameras. Okay, I thought I had those in there. You can buy a camera that someone used. Say someone got a starter camera and then they decided to upgrade and they sold B&H their starter camera and it was in great shape, and they go through and they clean it and they fix it and they refurbish it and they resell it, and you can always, get a deal on used equipment. I showed you some of my lenses. My big zoom lens, that lens was thousands of dollars new, and I think I got it for a few $100s, refurbished, and it was in good condition. And it takes the photos it's supposed to take, so I can't complain. So I highly recommend B&H as a result of just having had great luck with them, the college using them, Mr. Thomas uses them. I think most of my photography friends use them. So it's a good place to start. They're reliable. Okay, so we have to cover this as part of the curriculum for this course. We're going to cover it more in depth and how you use it in photography 2, because you will need a DSLR or a camera app that has Pro Mode. And you can get that camera app by downloading Lightroom and using Lightroom as your camera app. But if you want to be a photographer, it may be worth it to see if for your birthday, maybe you get, people want to buy you a gift and they want to spend $10, and you can get, 10 people to give you $10 for your birthday or something like that. And now you got $100 to go towards a camera. It's a good investment. I do want to warn you about buying cameras off Etsy or eBay, because I have known students who've done that, got a camera for $150, and 2 weeks later it wasn't working anymore, and there was no warranty because it was as is. So don't buy camera gear off Etsy or eBay for as is. You want a warranty, and you want somebody that will be there 3 years from now. And that's why I buy everything from BH. It's worth the extra bit of money, in my opinion, to know they're going to be there in 3 years. If warranties don't always last that long, but just be careful with buying things from people off of the internet who aren't AAA rated, Better Business Bureau businesses. Okay, so there are different parts of a camera. The main ones are the sensor. This is what reads the light. The mirror, which allows us to see through the viewfinder. And then also we have our tilting mirror that helps us get that image. That's a couple parts. Oh, it's better there. Okay, so the light comes in, hits the mirror, moves up, hits that mirror, hits the tilting mirror, and then goes through. And you're going to see 1, 2, 3 steps before you see it in the viewfinder. Now, when you go to take a picture, this will move up into the open position. So then the light, when you press the shutter, the light will come through and record on your sensor. Different lenses, all kinds of different lenses. Now, lenses can range from a fixed lens glass to a zoom lens glass from wide angle to zoom. There's to macro. There's a whole bunch of different lenses, and they're interchangeable on a DSLR. You take them off and you put a different one on, and it depends on what you want to take photos of. Let's see. This one is a fixed 50 millimeter lens. This one's 85 millimeter. This is a zoom. This one is a macro lens, which is a 40 millimeter for shooting up close. This is a zoom, and this is a zoom. And you see what happens. You have all these different pieces of glass inside of your lens. And that's why they're heavy and expensive, and you don't want to drop them. I broke a $400 lens once, and I cried for a month. So depending on which lens you put on, so we're looking down the beach, And with a 135 millimeter lens, or a lens zoomed to 135 millimeters, this is what will be in your viewfinder and recorded. And then this is 100, 85, 50, 35, 25. So essentially the smaller the number, the wider the view. The higher the number, the more zoomed in the view. Standard prime lenses are fixed length. So if it's a 35 millimeter lens, you will only get 35 millimeter. Now, these types of lenses, they tend to be 24, 35, 50, 85, 135, and 200, have the sharpest quality image you're ever going to get, way sharper than zoom. They're lighter in weight because they don't have all those different pieces of glass in there. They do better in low light conditions, and they're great as long as you have all of them. And I will tell you, fixed prime lenses are more expensive. So you'll have to carry multiple lenses to range the gamut, and then you can always crop your photos later if you want to zoom in a little bit more. And that's what these all are, these fixed lenses. No zoom. And just there it is again with another picture as to what they look like. And you can again see with the different fixed lenses. Okay, and then here we go from 18 millimeter to 300 millimeter. We're zooming in on this area right here. You can see what the difference is in lenses. And this one goes into the math for those of you who want the math on what happens when you use the different lenses and how much you see and how this works. Okay, we're going to stop here and continue in the next video. If I can get to the stop button.